Get up, my world is with my girls, living on the dance floor.
Hello, everybody. Abby Lee Miller here. Welcome back to Leave It on the Dance Floor. Last week you enjoyed Sarah Ashley Hunt. This week, her mother is here, Christy Hunt, but you know her and love her as Christy. Yes. We had to use two different names because it's just weird to be on a TV show and have people have the same names. So, welcome, Christy, to Leave It on the Dance Floor. Hello!
Woo! I am so honored to be here, Abby.
Well, thank you. 5.5 hours
Ben.
to the Lincoln Tunnel.
Through the Lincoln Tunnel, that's right, from Pittsburgh, all the way from Pittsburgh. So Number one, I'm so happy to see you, and I'm so happy to be back in New York, because it's been a hot minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of time, but it is so good to be here with you.
Oh,
I'm
well, thank you.
honored to be here.
It's
honored.
just the vibe in New York City. It's
My
just
gosh,
the fun.
Could you be even literally filming in a better place? I mean, look where we are.
No,
We're right in the middle of Times Square.
Yes.
Literally.
And this is the Actors Equity Building.
Oh my gosh.
So this is where everybody has to come.
Absolutely.
It's anybody about their union and know this and know that. Right. So it's a very well-known address.
Yeah.
And you're staying at the Marriott Marquis.
Yeah, it's beautiful there.
It is absolutely beautiful.
Just
now,
exquisite.
What you don't probably know is the Dance Masters of America use that hotel. We were contracted, I think, for 25 years.
That is
for
amazing.
every other year to be there at the Marriott.
Wow.
Yes, a lot of pacing in the hallways there with kids. I know Katie Hackett won Junior Miss Dance of America or Petite Miss Dance of America there. And I had other kids win and not win
sweat
there.
and tears of beautiful dancers.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
they're in the walls.
There's a lot of memories for me there.
My gosh. Yeah. No, it's a great place. Very centralized. We heard from a friend that sometimes you stay there as well.
Yes,
so yeah. But we're blessed to be here.
Okay, so now at home you have two sons.
I have three sons.
Right, but one is here.
One is
sitting
here.
out in the waiting room.
My youngest, Isaiah, he made an appearance on the show. You had him pointing his little feet at the time. I was pregnant when I first brought Sarah to the studio, so he's grown up knowing you and loving you.
Yes.
And then I have two middle boys. Isaiah's 12, and then I have two middle boys. They're at home. They play hockey, and 14 and 17. And then Sarah's almost 20 next week. Yeah. So I have four
kids, but they're not babies. They're doing their own thing.
Man, they are independent, bold soldiers. I'll tell you that right now. But they're homeschooled. They have all their extracurricular activities. They still play high school hockey. They're able to do all the things. Homeschooling, man, is. You've said it. You have said it for years. Is the way to go.
Yeah. Well, when your kids do other things, it gives them the time.
Oh my gosh.
To do it, and with the traveling, they're not missing school.
No.
Right.
No. You're able to go wherever you want.
Right.
We travel year round. We go where we want. They have privates. My son still. He's my older son, the one under Sarah, is a goalie, and it's his senior year coming up. So he trains and he does privates in the middle of the day on Wednesdays. And
will he go on with this in the future? Will he go to college and play hockey?
We're going to see.
If there's any scholarships?
Scholarship-wise in that. My kids, we teach them entrepreneurship.
Right.
We teach them, my husband has his own construction company, so he can also go that route as well.
So the boys do that? They've learned?
They've helped, and, they can go to trade school. They can do whatever they want,
Absolutely.
But they're great kids, and we really do, we run a tight ship. But we really do believe that, I have my teaching degree. So I always say, if anybody, I could be in a building, right?
Right.
But I've dedicated my life to my kids. Right. So, I am teaching, I am their main teacher.
All the time. And they have gone to a lot of dance recitals and competitions. Those boys have sat through it all.
They have sat in strollers. They have sat back on the floor sleeping 8 hours, 9, 10, 12 hours, 3 days a week or 3 days during the weekend. And my husband, George, he is such a part of Sarah's career and where we've been with you. And he's worked with you. He loves you. My whole family has just adored you, has
Well, thank
respected
you.
you from day one. So
That's appreciative. It
We
really is.
appreciate
I'm
you.
grateful for that too,
we appreciate you. We
for the
really do.
relationship. All right, let's dig into it.
Yeah, let's go.
So,
yeah, lots to
Christy,
uncover.
who was the first person that called you that, or did you say it yourself?
No, it necessarily wasn't me. No, the way that I remember it, one of the producers, aka Satan, just
Yes,
saying,
yeah.
and remember what
Satan
Satan means
Jr..
for evil, God means for good. So
That's
let's just
right.
say it that way. He comes up and he says, hey, we're gonna call you Christy, and I'm sitting in this room, if I recall correctly, in a chair, and I'm like, hey, whatever you want to do, like, dude, I know who I am in Christ, so you can call me whatever you want,
Right.
So it flowed, and I guess to the world in 134 different countries.
stuck.
It has stuck, and
Do people ever say that to you today?
well, the crazy thing is I mean, Abby, everywhere we go, we get recognized. I mean, it could be the mall, it can be Chick-fil-A, it could be Target. We get pictures taken literally like in the Chick-fil-A drive-through. Like,
Really?
can I out of the window? It is hilarious. And a lot of the time, because Sarah is so grown now,
Yes.
it's me that gets recognized.
Right.
So it's like
They
"You're
see you first
Christy!"
before they realize she's a grown-up.
So yeah,
Yes.
so I do. That name has stuck, but everybody's very respectful,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
know me as Christy too. So
Yeah,
it's not
but
as
they
if
call
it's,
you Christy when they recognize
it's
you.
Christy, and but I hold that name very, I wear it on my sleeve because it is part of my faith. So therefore,
Yeah, but
it's not a big deal
just
to me.
a shtick.
It's,
Yeah, it was
a
a thing.
shtick, and I ain't worried about it, and it doesn't mean anything against
No.
who I am,
No,
right?
no.
So yeah, but
No, I never thought of it that way. I just thought of it as, this is hilarious, and I can't believe we're calling her this. Now,
Yeah.
You brought your daughter to the
Yeah.
ALDC. You registered her in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Now, this is after a TV show was on.
correct.
So did you come thinking, I am going to be on this show, I'm going to get my kid on here like a Jesslyn Siwa? Or did you come thinking, these kids are amazing and I want my daughter to have the education?
It's a double-sided question.
Okay.
She was at a rec studio, right? She dances one dance a year. She's
Right.
in the middle. Everybody's copying her.
Right.
But we're watching this TV show, and it's 45 minutes away from the house. And there is being nothing learned at that little rec studio. So
Right.
there was everything and anything to be had 45 minutes away.
Right.
And we knew that, and we watched it.
Right.
But on the other hand, you're like going because you know your kid has something. And if I get her to you, she might be something, right?
See, I'm so thrilled to hear you say that, because people bring their kids, 8, 9, 10, and they think, well, we're going to go to this. They know about me. They're 5 minutes away, but they go to somebody else because, well, let's see if she's good or not. And if she's good, then we'll take her there. And it's like, she's not going to be good because the 8 and 9-year-olds or 10-year-olds that I have here are going to be so far past this kid when you decide to bring them there. So start off on the right foot.
Right.
And that's what you
And that's
realized.
exactly what we realized. We had signed her up in September to start that following year at that rec studio. And I swear to you, for about the first month, I was crying to my husband going, this can't be. I can't keep her here and expect her to do something if she's meant to dance. If it's a gift that
God
God
gave her,
can,
yes.
that God gave her, somehow, some way, we need to get out of her what is inputted in her.
Right. She
And
needs to
so-
share it with the
and
world.
she needs
but-
to share it with the world.
But it's not going to happen.
It's not going to
here.
happen there. And
Right.
it wasn't coming to you for something. It was coming to you to relish what I knew she carried in that gift that, God
I
gave
would
her.
see it in her.
That
and-
you would see it, but you would also be able to get it out of her
Right.
because of your training, because of how you were known. And it wasn't just about, it's about a TV show. Because I'm not a part of big cameras and bright lights. I don't care about fame, but I do care about getting my kids to where they're
supposed to be. Right.
And to me, if that takes time, money, effort, energy, dropping things, sacrificing things, that's what we're going to do as a family.
Right.
So it was a whole family thing. And when we brought her here, she was 7. It was October. The season had already started. So she's walking into your studio with students
a month
late.
Right,
So,
right.
there's already dances started. There's already teams, conjoined
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. And we literally walked in and Rachel was at the front desk and, I'm like, look, we really believe we need to be here. And she's like, we will find a place for her. And man, you guys found a place for her. You know, you really did. So the rest is history. But I mean, we just always knew that God placed us exactly where she needed to be.
Right.
And you were a vessel that helped.
Because you're from the South Hills area in Pittsburgh, and there's a lot of good studios.
There's great studios.
But
There's
you weren't at one to begin with.
We weren't at one, and
and you saw the show, and so you thought, oh, this is right here. We're going to drive 45 minutes and take her.
It's not that far. You know, it's really not that far.
Well, at the time that you were coming, I am guessing in my mind, if I'm remembering correctly, there were a lot of kids coming from far away.
There was people driving 2 hours. There was somebody that had driven all the way down from, we're in New York, up further in New York, down, and she kept track of all the mileage, the gas, all of it. And at the end of the year, a year with Abby, priceless, because that is what, honestly, and it was priceless. And it didn't matter what it took, and it didn't matter the dedication that we had to put in, because we knew you were the best, and you've always been the best.
Well, thank you. So, she's just flattering me and complimenting me.
I don't mean it to even
the next guest is going to be horrible.
No, but what I love about you, like just you and Sarah both have just always been so supportive of Abby. Every project that she does, you're always the first ones to reach out. Like you're just always so kind, and like you remember where you came from. You know,
if you can't remember your,
well, they're still there.
Yeah, well, no, I'm saying as far as like the studio.
No, I know that, but I think sometimes those original kids forget what they would be doing without a TV show.
Because they're not currently there.
They're not there.
Not all of them, at least,
not only that, if you can't remember where your roots started, I mean, I'm
and
sorry.
What you did
and what
4
you did,
days a week for how many years of your life? Come on,
and what
wake
you
up.
Shared. You know, how can you not be loyal to someone when that someone was a friend? You know, they were a loyal confidant. They were somebody that fought for you, somebody that bought for you, you know, somebody that put all their blood, sweat, and tears and time, effort, and energy out of their own life for you. I just don't understand how you can't stay loyal. I don't understand how you can take a produced television show and turn it into an unrealistic identity crisis. It just doesn't make any sense. So, you know, we will always defend you.
You heard it here on Leave It on the Dance Floor. She is exactly right.
Yeah.
Those words, somebody that fought for you, somebody that bought for you, that's an iconic statement right there, and it's the truth.
It is the truth, Ab.
And you watched it. You sat back and watched it.
That's the title of this episode. We just found the title of this episode. Somebody that fought for you and bought for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I didn't probably fight for Sarah. I probably didn't buy anything for Sarah, but she watched it. As a mother, as a parent, you watched what I did for those other kids.
I watched it. I watched it not only for the other kids, but what you did do for Sarah. You know, there was a relationship built outside of the show. There was a relationship built in those walls as a family. There was a relationship built of what you did for her, on how you fixed her costume, how you spent hours fixing the solo, how you invited the parents in to allow us to be a part of how you fixed things. I just feel like those walls held so much love. And yes, it was hard. Yes, you demanded and expected things to be on a level of not perfection, but expertise, right? Because you want to produce who's down the street, who's on Broadway, who is doing the next show, who's on a cruise, who's who's hired for the next show.
I wanted those kids prepared.
You wanted those kids prepared for life. And that's exactly what you did. Sarah, nor my family or ourselves would not be anything without those walls. Oh, and we will stick with it. Yeah, it's the truth.
So kind. I'm going to cry.
I mean, I say the same thing, you know, because everybody always asks me, they're like, oh my God, how is it working with Abby Lee Miller? Like, is she just like the show? It's just like, yeah, she's just like the show, and she's everything more.
All right, look, I want to ask you now. You're at home in Pittsburgh, and I had my, let's say, trials and tribulations. Mm-hmm. I go away. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you were praying for me.
I was.
I'm sure you all were thinking, oh my God, what is happening in this world? What is going on? Then I get out, and now I'm in a hospital dying. And you're hearing this on the news or wherever.
That year of your life, because if you do recall, it was not only such a shock, but such a huge deprivation to the studio, right? To our lives, everybody seeing you be here and then take the fall, the rap, and all the blame for everything that occurred, for you to have your life completely altered in every manner, known to man. And sitting back, because even when you were still in Pittsburgh.
Well, my mom had just died too, right?
Oh my
Before
gosh.
that.
I mean, right before.
Well, your mom had passed in 2014, but then 17 is when all the legal
so a few
stuff.
years. Okay.
And you guys were actually at the courthouse.
We were and I said I was going to bring up, you were sentenced that day, and we were in the audience, and, we cried on camera. I mean, then that kind of went viral even on the news, that because it was just, not only was it
Some
such
people
a
were toasting
shock,
alcohol,
but
drinks,
that's
champagne.
ridiculous, And I mean, here's a woman who literally has given her all for all of you, and is now sentenced to a year and a day or whatever it was. In the most secluded location that there could have been, in some of the, I guess, the slummiest areas that you can between LA and Vegas or wherever it was. And,
in the desert.
Yeah, in the desert, and it was so shocking, Abby. And so we prayed for you all the time. And we were honored because you allowed us to be one of a few of a list of people that were able to keep in contact with you
emails.
and with
Right.
emails, through Warden and all of that. That was a whole thing, And so you're now finally out, and you're expecting life and everything to get back to normal.
I lost 127 pounds. I was in the best shape.
You were in the best shape. Yes.
I was like, come on,
Yes.
let's take on the world.
Yes.
Yes.
And we would talk, and you had gotten out, and you were, I guess, in the the halfway house, the mid
Right.
of getting out, and you just, Christy, you don't understand. They won't listen to me. Something is wrong with me. I'm ill. They won't listen to me. They've taken me off of medication and all this stuff. You
were getting those, was it emails?
We had
texting.
even talked. We had even talked on the phone.
Okay.
Okay. And you're like,
You have to remind me because I'm not
that's okay.
remembering all
No,
this.
we talked on the phone, and we had stayed in contact that whole
Right,
entire
right.
time, and you were like, get a camera, go to the news, do something, because nobody will listen to me. Something is wrong with me. I can't move my neck. I can't move. Like, I'm sick. They won't listen. Whatever. And
Viewers, ALDC elites, this is such pertinent information because I don't really remember all
I know,
this.
you probably
It's
wouldn't.
not like the kids where it's toxic and I blocked it out. It's not that. It's just that I was in such a
gosh.
state of pain.
you were pain.
and my brain was just
You were crying, and you were begging for help. And I was all the way in Pittsburgh, and you were all the way at the halfway house. And I remember saying to you, I was in a Target, and I was on the phone with you, and you're begging, like, somebody, please help me. And I'm like, Abby, please, what do you want me to do? I'll get on a plane. I'll do whatever you need. Let me know what you need me to do. And you're like, well, I have to go. And it was only probably a day, 2 days, and you ended up, almost losing your life.
right.
And from that point, hearing that, we had talked to Mackenzie's
Nikki.
Yeah.
Yes.
who I know was such a dear friend
Yes.
to you during
and actually,
that time.
Nikki's going through her own
Wow.
radiation.
I'll be praying
now.
for her.
Yes.
That's
yes.
terrible. I did not know that, but
Yeah.
she was such a dear
She
friend
has
to
breast
you.
cancer. So
Wow.
she
I'm
was.
so
she was
sorry, Nikki.
I could never be the friend to her.
Yeah.
In this chair.
Yeah.
That she was to me.
You talking about loyalty. She was she was
she
so
still is.
so, and so we had talked. She had, updated me and said, listen, she was near death. They did save her life, but her road ahead is not going to be the same, and it's going to change her life,
Mm-hmm.
So we had come, but the whole time we were praying for you. My whole family
So
was
you guys
praying.
came to was it the California Rehabilitation Institute?
No, it was actually
Cedars.
Cedars.
Okay.
Numerous times we had come to the hospital and prayed with you and, visited you. My kids had come. There's pictures of us on
Yes.
the bed, and I think
We-
you
we need
remember
those.
that. Yeah.
We need
Very
those funnel
sweet.
cake.
We brought you funnel cake.
Yeah.
Here on San Juan.
Okay, there we go. Yes.
You had requested,
Funnel cake.
You were always requesting, a hot dog or,
a hot dog.
something.
It was very simple and it was cheap. It was just probably hard to find.
It was just sweet, exactly.
Yes.
And we're always like, by the time I get it to you, it's going to be cold, and you didn't care.
Yeah.
But through all of that journey that you
So that was a shock to you, though, when
Abby,
all that happened.
It was.
Did you see it? You were in touch, so the news didn't startle you.
It didn't necessarily come from the news. It came from
Me.
in.
Yeah.
It came from in and being a part of that honor of being a part of that inward circle that you did keep.
Yes.
We were a part of that inward circle. So
that circle you talk about, those were people that wanted to be in touch with me, that
Absolutely,
wanted,
Abby.
that
Yeah.
cared enough to know what was going on.
That's right.
And it's sad that it was a small circle.
But that
Yes.
circle is still your
Yes.
circle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're all still here.
I remember you coming to the hospital. I remember.
I was so young.
Well,
I was,
Abby,
yeah.
there is a saying that you never question who God takes out of your life because He heard the conversations they were having behind your back. So, sometimes,
That's true.
your smaller circle is who you really need to lean on, So
And I did.
And you did.
I needed to lean
Yeah.
on people, yes.
Yeah.
Everybody always asks, are you ever going to walk again? Do you think you're going to walk again? Well, I'm in physical therapy, and yes, I walk again. But what helps the most is my G-Defy tennis shoes. They are incredible. I feel confident. I feel balanced. I feel completely aligned. I can heel ball. My knees aren't knocking anymore. My ankles aren't rolling. I don't feel wobbly. I feel safe in my G-Defy shoes. And that's so important. Someone that's handicapped is feeling safe. They absorb harmful shock from the ground up. Anything like a hard surface, walking on the pavement, crossing the street, potholes, you're safe in these shoes. Head over to gdefy.com to order a pair of your new favorite shoes today. Again, that's gdefy.com and use your code ABBY, ABBY, for $30 off an order of $120 or more. They have a brand new effortless entry shoe. That's their version of hands-free, no hands, just slip your feet right into the shoes. Yet they still grip your foot. You still have that same balance, control, alignment with G-Defy. Okay, now let's get back into the show.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what was it like? You're getting mic'd up for the first time.
Right.
So tell our ALDC Elite viewers about that.
Well,
The day had come, like D-Day.
Yeah, the D-Day. Are we talking back in the studio starting to film? Or are we talking like Melissa's house and fighting?
Your
Or
very
No,
first
the
time.
very first time a guy comes up and sticks a wire down your shirt or up your shirt,
Yeah.
and he mics you, and now you've thought, this is real.
No, right. I think the first time I'm technically mic'd is the day that the select team is now meeting
Okay.
in your studio together. And we're down at the doctor's office and we're being prepared and we all had our own, I guess, little hired to fight, whatever, right?
Okay.
And so I'm hired to fight,
Right.
because it's fight or flight with me. When
Right.
it comes to my kid, it's fight or flight. So yeah, I'm mic'd and we all have to walk into to A and you got your main team and you got your select team. And walking in, I think that I was on a mission, you know what I mean? I was on a mission to prove to the world that Sarah is your next girl. I always say, you didn't have to go searching for Sarah because Sarah came right into your door.
Right.
She
Right.
came off
That
the
was your-
street.
that was your
like my
line, and you
line.
were sticking to it.
I was kind of sticking to it. But
Right. Now, those other mothers,
yeah.
originally, they were okay because you had to
mean-
be a team. Or no?
Yeah, yes and no. No. I think probably pretty much right from the beginning, they knew I was just going to tell the truth. It was my studio. You're stepping in. Yeah, I'm on this select team, but I should be over there.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I feel like those moms and myself and the producers, are already having those divided walls,
Okay.
of,
Interesting.
you're going to fight, you're going to fight for everything you get,
Right.
you're going to fight whether she does the dance or gets kicked out of the dance, you're going to fight.
So you weren't there
And-
to be on this new team. You were there to get
Get
your way
Sarah
through the door.
on the other team.
Get on
Michael
the other-
David, I was there to get her over to that other lineup of kids and, to make her
Be the best.
that she could be.
Right.
I mean, like I said, I don't think about stardom. I think about becoming the best.
Right.
I think about
the competitions,
At the competition.
right.
In her world, in our world, right, and not the world necessarily the whole world, but our world that we were living in that moment.
Yes.
She was going to be the best, and she was super young. She had so much to offer: her beauty, her technique. Abby, literally, when she stepped into your studios, you brought everything out of her known to man, and in the dance realm. I mean, from technique to posture to knowing how to write things in French, knowing how to speak, the ballet terms in French. She was learning these things at 7 years old. James
Right.
Washington in the other room. I'm like, you have to memorize 20 terms in French and learn how to write them? I mean, this is freaking awesome as a teacher.
Yeah, right.
So I just think from my point of view, she was on the wrong line and she was supposed to be over there because she was your girl.
Did they know, when you guys entered, did the original moms know that you were the ones chosen yet?
Yes.
They did know.
We
before
knew
you came in.
we
Okay.
knew down at the doctor's office, we were the team, and we showed up not knowing who was going to be there. Not knowing who was going to conjoin.
Yeah, you didn't
that
know the other
team.
dancers.
We didn't
Right,
know the other
right,
ones.
right.
We didn't know who they were putting on a team.
Were they at that audition though?
They were at the audition,
But you didn't know who
we
was
didn't know
selected.
who
And
was
they were
selected.
different auditions,
and
too.
there were
It was
so many different
cities.
things, Abby, because
okay.
you were going to different cities. Like you would meet Tia, say in Tampa.
Okay.
You were Ava Cotta.
New York.
All those
Okay,
people.
yeah,
they
yeah.
were all different cities, so we had no idea from
Okay.
ours.
And Sarah was the youngest one.
Sarah was the tiniest one. She was the youngest, tiniest. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she was the Mackenzie of the other group.
She was the Mackenzie. She was your mini, lyrical mini
Right.
for that mini category because
Right.
I believe Tia was a couple year, 1 or 2. So she would have been like a junior.
Right.
I believe. I don't know exactly
Yeah,
their
no,
ages.
she-
You know what
she
I mean?
is.
So
She's
Sarah
older.
was your mini
Okay.
at 8 years old. Yeah.
And pulling the age group down.
Literally
yes.
pulling the age group down and winning.
Right.
She was able to win, so, and you knew that. She had beat Mackenzie at, I believe it was Hollywood Vibe, which was,
Yes, you pointed that out at her
yeah.
music video.
We did. I did. I did. I'm like, well, she beat you. What are you talking about?
So was that the first time that you were on camera, though, the music video?
The music, Melissa's house.
Yes.
And then the music video. Yes. So that whole thing.
So that was the first
That was
thing.
that was the first time. I do believe, there was a couple things happening in the studio. There was a couple things happening with the producers, like behind the scenes and stuff
Okay.
like that. You know what I mean? To kind of
Test you out.
test me, different scenarios and stuff
but
like
we,
that.
we didn't see that as viewers.
You didn't necessarily
No.
see that. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. It
All
was
right.
those first Melissa's house and then that first select team walk in that everybody was
So now,
walking in. Yeah.
As a happily married woman,
Mm-hmm.
that whole altercation happens at Melissa's. Your kid is given the boot. You get in your car. Did you have your car there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right outside.
You get in your car. You drive home.
Yeah.
What do you tell your husband when you walk in the door?
She's gonna be on the show. she's I'm gonna fight to do this. At Melissa's
So there
house.
were no tears. There was nothing upset.
Abby,
there was nothing like,
there
honey, this is going to be awful. My
No.
mom and dad are going to be
No.
embarrassed. This is awful.
Never.
It was like,
No.
yes,
No.
I fought. I did what I was
No.
supposed to, and
No.
my kid is going to be on TV.
I knew exactly what my mission was. I knew exactly because I do have to
Do
understand.
you hear that?
Like, literally.
ALDC elites, do you hear that? It's not traumatizing.
It's not.
It wasn't toxic.
No.
It wasn't this. It wasn't
It's
that.
not.
It was a TV show. She knew what she had to do. She went, she did it, and her kid was getting the education she needed.
Guys, not only that, okay, we were a faith-filled praying family. Do you really believe that there was not God-given flowers that just kept blooming in order to take that position? We've seen God's hand in all of it. We've seen, and I mean, like I said, yes, what Satan means for evil, God means for good, but he can take any situation that he wants to and make it as big or as small as he wants to. And so that
Well, I
whole-
think you have some of that power too.
Well, I
You're
think
selling
that-
yourself short, Christy.
Well, I
you
think
can
that-
make it as
TV
big.
gold.
Yeah, you can make it as big or as small
I think-
as you wanted.
I do think also though, like just the fact of, think about it. We're now in this world-renowned studio, right? With one of the biggest opportunities that anybody can be gifted. And it is a gift.
And I'm so glad you said that because there's
It's a
so many
gift.
kids that were in that studio
I mean,
and nobody knows their name.
Nobody knows their name. And you have
Which is
millions
sad.
of kids, thousands, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of kids on the daily in cities across the world still wanting to learn from you. Like, think about it. If you were so mean and evil, number one, anybody could have walked away from it at any time.
Oh, let's get to that right now.
Yes.
You had a contract
I had a contract
and you came with your kid.
and I came with my kid.
But at any
Absolutely.
given moment,
In any-
Sarah could have walked away.
In
Maybe
any
not you, but she could have.
Guys, any of us at any point in time could have walked away. You were not held, you were not chained, you were not bound. From my standpoint, yes, it was my studio, but that show, right, was not the legal binding of, oh my God, my kid is chained and she's being abused and we can't leave this abuse because if we leave this abuse, there'll be some type of ramification
Right.
legally. That's ridiculous. It wasn't a thing.
Every
You could have
kid
walked
could-
away at
every
any
kid
time.
Could have walked away.
Anytime.
And nobody ever walked away.
No.
Until they had a better offer.
And not
I
only
say
a,
that all the
not
time.
only a better offer, they didn't walk away because they loved what they were receiving from it. They loved the world renowned. They
And
loved
the-
being known. They
and
loved the
money.
platform and the money
and
the following.
offers
Yes.
and the brand deals.
Absolutely.
Back to the music video, Sarah Dute on Patreon asked, what truly led to the drama during the girl party shoot? Why did Melissa react the way she did, even though Sarah earned her spot at the audition for the video? So walk us through that drama, why
With
you
the
got
text
kicked
or
out.
whatever it was.
Did she call 911? Tell us.
Okay, so a couple days before that video shoot, there was this whole blow up in the studio that supposedly Sarah got a hold or had a phone that she was sending nasty text messages to Mackenzie.
Okay.
And at the studio, it all blew up. And Kenzie, they were friends, but they were kind of distant,
Yeah.
and so Sarah kind of came in like a wrecking ball. She was kind of the black sheep because they honestly, we'd hear it all the time from people like, oh, she's coming in because she's a part of the show. I'm like, I just walked off the street. I'm not a part of the show. Like, you
Right.
can hate me all you want. Sometimes it was worse off camera than
I
upstairs,
know. That's what
right?
I say. People say,
so,
is it all fake? I'm like, no, it was
no,
worse
it was
off
worse
camera.
off camera, So, people like, I was pregnant with my youngest who's sitting right outside the door and he's here in New York City with us and he travels with us a lot. But she wanted to punch my stomach, and it was only because Sarah was in the middle of the group and she hated the fact that Sarah was in the middle of the group and that was off show. That was just a regular dance team mom, so it was crazy. It was pretty, demand. But anyway, we'll leave that. But anyway, so this text message thing will go viral around the studio. And, I'm like, guys, she doesn't even have a phone. Like, what are you talking about? So supposedly she's 7 years old, 8 years old, whatever it is she is at the time. Like, she didn't steal a phone. Mackenzie, she loves you. We were close as far as even a family, to Melissa, we were friends.
Yeah.
Well, we thought we were anyway.
Yes, everyone did.
To her mom and, to her mom and and both of the girls,
Right.
I love them. I'd get them food if they needed food. If I had to be there in the studio and help them, I would be there in the den, so there was a trust factor there. So now all of a sudden this whole breaking news of Sarah sending this nasty text message, which I don't even remember what the text message was, that's what the fight was about in Melissa's house. They're now fighting. So this whole thing, some of the moms are there. You got like Selah's mom and
Right.
some of these other moms that are, part of the studio.
Right.
And we're all at Melissa's house because the girls that were there, the moms were there because the girls were upstairs filming with
Exactly.
you, right? They're
Exactly.
filming this video.
Denise was there.
Denise was there, yeah. Maddie P was, part of their.
Selah's mom. I can't
Yeah,
remember her name.
Jen.
She
yeah.
took for me. She was my
Yes,
student.
She was your
Right.
student. There was tons
Yeah,
of
because
those
the way
girls.
that they put it together was like, oh, it's just these moms trying to like insert themselves in the
No.
team and like say why their kids are better than
No,
theirs.
they were the team. They were at the studio
were the-
paying
yeah.
customers.
They were
Yes.
the paying customers. I mean, we were there, yes, and the cameras were there because you were filming and they
Right.
were going to be seen on the show. But you know, those moms.
But that was my video. We paid for
Yes,
that.
sure,
I paid for that.
sure.
Andrew Logan paid for that.
Sure.
John Carella probably didn't pay for anything, but
Sure.
pretended he did.
Sure.
And we were there, and we
Sure.
were shooting that. The show was shooting that. So the show was getting
They were
a
downstairs.
lot of money and a lot of
Yeah,
time
you
and energy.
were shooting upstairs. The show
Right.
was filming downstairs.
Exactly.
And so that text message and all of that had come up in the midst of those moms, and I
Your
had
evil little girl that said all these horrible things.
terrible, you know, and I ended up saying, you know, look, no, like Sarah has all that it takes. Like Abby, Sarah needs you, you know, to them. Like she
Did I
needs
come downstairs?
Abby.
So you were at
no,
the top.
you were at the top.
You were like
and I looked
upstairs
up.
looking down. It was such an iconic scene. All the kids are like surrounding you,
Yeah.
and you're just kind of like, and Christy's just like, our kids need you more, and then you're just kind
Okay.
of like, you're like, I know.
Yeah, you did.
You know, just meaning
You
like, I
did.
know, and all the kids. It was like that was peak. That was peak Dance Moms right there.
Okay. So then I had to yell down, get out.
Yeah, no,
No,
you didn't
no,
kick her out.
you didn't
Melissa's
kick-
the one that kicked
no.
her out.
Okay.
Did she actually call 911?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
When I left, I mean, I kind of bolted. I'm not gonna lie. Like, okay, I'm gonna call 911. I mean, at that point, I'm new to this. I don't know how much you're gonna go or where you're gonna go with
Right.
this.
So I'm
you
gonna
know?
get my
I'm
kid
gonna
and
get
get
my
out.
kid and get out of here.
You
You
had
know.
already filmed at that point.
I mean, I
so-
already filmed. I already fought. You know, I was already there, and it not like
and
they're-
they got you.
And
They were
got
on
me.
you.
They
Yes.
they were
and we
on
already
me.
filmed Sarah.
They were
so,
on. You
okay.
had already had her. And to be honest with you, you know, no offense to the other moms that were down there, they just kind of didn't have a clue. You know, they didn't have a clue to like when the camera was on. They didn't have a clue to like fight for your
Follow
kid.
the
You know
red
what I
light.
mean? Like,
They didn't
yeah,
find
you
the-
know,
the red light.
I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I'm kind of like the mouse, like face, you know, trying to get the cheese. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, okay, the camera's there. What do you want to know from me? You know what I
Right.
mean? Well, I'm going to talk to you, you know, because
Yeah.
I always have.
Well, I think a lot of people can talk the talk before the cameras turn on.
Sure.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Da, da, da. I got it in filming season 9 around the world. Oh, yeah, Abby, we're going to say it. I'm giving them things to
Yes.
say. I'm helping
Yes.
them out.
Sure.
And the cameras turn on, and they get mic'd, and they walk in, and they're like this.
They're just dead.
Nothing.
Yeah.
They're like this.
You know, meanwhile, like I was kind of the one that was like, I didn't share a lot of it. I didn't let a lot of people in. I kind of just, you know, did what I was supposed to do and
Right.
paid and did and showed up when I needed to, you know,
So-
all
and
that
then you
stuff.
got home and you said
you
to
know
the
what I
husband-
mean? And then I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like on my knees praying, right? You know, so then that camera turned on and then I kind of become
Christy.
what I needed to be. You
Yes.
know what
And
I
then
mean?
that got your spot right
It
there.
got my spot, you know, but it was never something, Abby, that like I'm like, oh crap, like what I get myself in. I did. I mean, it got to that point where like I'm on my knees, like how do I get through this, right? But to get there, I knew that the Lord walked us there. I knew that it was an opportunity.
Well, I'm so glad
Yeah.
that she's not traumatized. It wasn't toxic. She knew exactly what she was doing.
No.
She went
And it
for
worked.
it, and it worked. Yeah,
I'm
TV
gonna-
gold.
I'm gonna just try to incorporate the fan questions throughout the
Yes.
recording. So Cassidy Schmid said, "Hey Christy, it seemed like you picked a fight with everyone at least once on the show. I'm curious, did you feel defensive because of the way the moms treated you, or did you feel the need to be extra expressive so you and Sarah could stay on the show?" Kind of what we were just talking about. So.
No, I do think that there was so many things that were you walked into a door, you didn't know what you were expecting on the other side of that door, right? You
I
know?
did it. I did it
You
3
did it,
days a week, every day,
you
and
know.
then 2 days of competition.
And so you never knew. You never knew kind of like what was being produced behind your back, what they were going to set up, you know, to go against you or to kind of make your life a living hell, you know?
Right. My makeup
And-
artist, Diana, she would often whisper in my ear, "So and so's behind the door. They're bringing her in. They're bringing her in right now." And she would like pretend she's not pretend. She was
No,
actually doing
fixing,
my
sure.
eyelashes
She was doing
or whatever.
her
and she
job,
would get
but-
right into me and say,
Yeah.
"I'm tipping you off." Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Right. That's the only way. Or
It
like
is
you,
the only way.
you have no
You
idea
have
what's
no
coming.
idea what they're producing on that
And you
other side of
have,
the door.
What, 4, 6, 5 people working all night and all morning
to devise that scheme
and to sabotage you and to make you nuts.
It literally.
And you're only one person. You had to choreograph the dance.
Yes.
Figure out the costuming. Do this. Do that. Tell the story.
Yes.
Fight with the moms. It was all day, every day, and I was just like,
it is mentally, spiritually, emotionally
exhausting. Draining. Yes,
and
that's how I felt. That's very good analogy.
It takes every fiber of your being to honestly get through it. And I was only a part of, 7, 8 up maybe, And so when I tell you that what they produce and what they manufacture is literally almost, that's to me the abuse. That to me is almost becomes the mental challenge of what are they going to do next? There was always this like, you're not Satan, they are. You know what I mean? Like they're the ones that are driving this craziness, this mental game that you're having to now be in.
I was fighting for the children against them.
Yeah.
And you understood that. Sure. I wanted better music. I wanted better costumes. I wanted more time.
Yes.
I wanted this. I wanted that.
Yes.
You saw it.
Yes.
How the other people didn't see it, or they did, and they're just pretending they didn't.
I just pretty much believe that they did. I just believe that, again, they have this whole facade up and this wall up of they are living in the fake-ality of the reality, and the reality they need to come back to. The reality was she was the one that was sticking up for your kid. Blame it on behind the camera. Blame it on Brian behind the camera. Blame it on the schemes of the devil behind the camera. Do you know what I mean? I really believe that you were fighting while everyone else. What happens with not blaming them? I don't understand. What happens with why do they get off scot-free? Yeah. Like I do too. I do too because, I literally would say they had taken us to LA to film an episode and or nationals and that, and there was just so much that they constantly were putting us up against that I'm like, listen here, I'd rather go home with my integrity and my faith to my family than what you're thinking you're going to give to me. And they literally, and I locked myself in my hotel. This is no lie. And they were like, they're calling me. And I'm like, listen, I told you. And they're like, we won't pay you. I said, let me make you understand something. You haven't paid me in 4 or 5 weeks. You have nothing to trap me here. Nothing. You haven't paid me. And they literally stopped, like conference call. They haven't paid you? We haven't paid you? Like, you haven't paid me? What are you talking about? You're putting me through this.
My own money to come here
and I'm having to go back to Abby's studio. Abby is my daughter's dance teacher. That family that I have now, sacrificed things for, left. I have had to go, I want to go back home, right? And I want to go back to Pittsburgh in my studio with Abby. I don't want all of this conflict to continue to go on. I want Abby's respect. I respect Abby. My family respects Abby. So it was really the producers. So they have it's twisted. Completely twisted.
And it's so weird how those kids don't.
I don't get it. I don't get it. So.
Oh, well, that's their problem, not ours. No. I mean, you can only do your best and live each day to the best of your ability.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Every day my email gets flooded with requests from kids, parents. Can you do a short little video for my daughter's bat mitzvah or whatever, this, that, or the other thing? Yes, I can, but you have to go through Cameo. That's cameo.com/TheRealAbbyLee. I can wish you a happy birthday. I can congratulate you on your recent dance competition win. I can do just about anything, even a little constructive criticism, because let's face it, that's what I do best. So please go to Cameo and book your video from me. That's cameo.com/TheRealAbbyLee. Go, go, go.
Just because we're talking about this, Alexis Souza Valentine.
Okay, from now on, you're only going to read the first names.
Okay.
Just forget the last names.
No, because they want it. They trust me. There's a lot of Alexises we have.
Okay,
there's a lot
right.
So they want to know that this was specifically them. Okay. How much of the drama was driven by production? Were you treated differently once the show aired? Like by people at the studio, by people you knew?
The grocery store, like,
Yeah, I think a lot of it was driven by production. I think a lot of it was set up and schemed. I think a lot of it was cameraed,
but and edited.
and edited.
But
Yeah.
after it aired,
Yeah.
was there any more respect from the crew? Never.
No, I really actually think that as we got deeper into it, kind of maybe to your face when the camera got off, would say something like, oh, you're going to be a star, or like,
Oh, great job today.
great
or
job
whatever.
today, or, oh, you're great, or, oh, Christy, you're powerful.
got it,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? We got whatever he would say, I think as actually we got into it deeper, we really like seen the schemes of the devil. I mean, it just got deeper and deeper and deeper into constantly trying to make us look foolish, or constantly trying to produce something out of a person that really didn't exist. Do you know what I mean? And I believe that, what people have seen of you or what they made you look like. Because again, remember, there is this whole crew behind the scenes that you're not seeing. And what they made you look like is a counterpart to who you are.
From living in Pittsburgh that the whole indictment was because of the way I was portrayed on the show.
Exactly.
That would have never happened had there not been a TV show.
Yes, exactly. And, and they end up, sending an army out to destroy you, which is, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I just think
And they kind of shot themselves in the foot
No,
because
they
that took
did.
me away from doing their show and making them more money.
Yes.
They never thought.
And then, no,
'cause
little
they're
did they
all
know
in Los
they're
Angeles.
going to, yes.
Had this happened in LA, I would have got a letter in the mail. It wouldn't have been
Yes.
this big witch hunt.
Exactly.
But because it was Pittsburgh, it was
Yes.
going to be, we're going to make
The
an
hounds
example.
were out to get you.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. You're sitting there, and when I was sentenced to a year and a day,
Mm-hmm.
did you just, was like,
We were bawling.
Like,
we were
what
we
just
were
happened?
just we were bawling, Allie. We just
it was horrific.
your world, our world, your world, the world, it came crashing down. We
Yeah.
felt the
And like
implication.
Sandy and everybody.
Oh my
it was,
God, we
it
were
was just-
all there, and it was horrendous. It was the saddest day, and it was just it wasn't needed. It didn't have to happen.
I know. I can't. I
And-
remember that judge saying,
Yeah.
if anyone at Chase Bank would have known you were on a TV show, they would have never negotiated that rate so low. I sentenced you to a year and a day. It's like, wait a minute. How did not anyone know at Chase Bank? How can you make a statement like that? Of
I
course,
don't
somebody at
even,
Chase
like,
Bank, some secretary, somebody watched.
I think your attorneys were a huge problem.
And I'm digging my hand into his thigh.
I think that you.
$1.2 million they cost me.
That's what I mean. Like, I just think that you had the wrong ones,
And then we flew in that forensic accountant, $370,000 plus first class airfare, his hotel, everything, and they never put him on the stand.
Yeah.
And he was right there, ready
He
to
was
go. He
there.
was ready to destroy the moms that I had done events with,
Yeah.
and every single thing that the
Yeah.
prosecutor said.
And again, it's just your attorneys. They didn't put him on the stand.
And I still don't know why they thought he would end up bringing up stuff that hadn't been brought up yet.
Yeah.
But I just feel I paid 100%, everybody 100% on the dollar back. If they had a fine or this or
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
I gave it to them.
took care of it,
I
yeah.
took care. Who does that in bankruptcy?
know.
Nobody
I know.
pays
Nobody.
100%
That's
on the
right,
dollar
exactly.
back and gets themselves out of it. So instead of Pittsburgh being like, hey,
She took care
the
of it,
judge
yes.
for the bankruptcy, this girl got herself out,
Yes.
paid everybody back.
That's
She
right.
has a new life. She's going to be okay.
Yes.
Hip, hip, hooray.
Yeah. Let her go.
No.
Exactly.
It was, how
Yeah.
did she get herself out
It
of
was a
bankruptcy?
witch hunt, and I do believe that those moms, they could have stuck up for you. Those moms could have came to your rescue. Those moms could have told the truth.
Well, I think the moms told the truth. It was Melissa who got immunity.
when
to,
I'm speaking of that's
moms,
who I'm
that's who you're
speaking.
speaking of, yes.
Yeah, yes. When
Yeah.
I'm speaking of that, that's
Go ahead.
who I'm saying.
Alexis Simpson asks, we got to talk about the bus really quick. Do you look back at not letting Sarah ride the bus without you and regret that? Sarah explained it, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
Look,
but
Sarah wasn't in the dance. She didn't have a costume. She
have
didn't
a
need to be
costume.
on the bus.
Sarah wasn't allowed on the bus. Like, it just wasn't a thing. You know, I have Melissa behind the desk going, I can't take care of her. You know, there's nobody there to take care of Sarah, and I'm not allowed on the bus because I got kicked out for something the producers told me to do, but that's beside the point. She isn't allowed on the bus. So how am I going to let my homeschooled 8-year-old on a bus with no costume, not dancing, hated by the girls that don't want to sit with her on the bus, and Melissa telling me that she can't take care of Sarah on the bus?
Bravo. There you have it. Enough about the damn bus.
Period.
valid.
And if I could have been in the car with Christy going, I would have. I would have gotten off the bus. Yeah. I hated the bus.
I have to ask you before I forget, the scene of you showing up to that mom's lunch where you walk in and they get up and then you sit down and eat one of their salads. That just... Obviously, they told you to do that,
I took a crouton. Oh my gosh.
You took a crouton.
I took a crouton.
I know, but everybody thinks you ate the whole salad.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I know, because,
People are rude.
No,
yeah,
people are so
but
rude. No, I don't
remember.
care.
No, that
I
did look
would've
like a
eaten the
good
whole
salad.
salad.
It did look like a good salad, though.
Where were you?
It was like
was
a
it?
golf. Was it the country
Like
club?
a country club. I don't know. I drove somewhere and,
They told you to come.
of course, they told me to come. Of
Okay.
course, they
How
told me
would
to
she
come.
even know where they were? If she
I mean,
didn't
I
tell
know.
her?
I just happened to show up. They told me to come, and I had no idea, again, getting there, what they were going to do. So they get up and leave. Okay, well, did they tell them to get up and leave, or was that just their
Yes.
response? Right?
Well, I don't know. That was
no,
probably their
but I'm
response.
saying, like, who knows?
But people think
who
that you
knows
just
the
show up for
response?
lunch. You got to be mic'd with the
Guys,
microphone.
the
There has to be a
cameras
camera
are
on
there.
You needed transportation to get there. Like
Hello.
all those things had to take place before she just showed
Exactly.
up.
Do you think there's just a camera at the table with a salad that hasn't been eaten that I can grab a crouton from?
Whose salad was it? Was it yours?
No, I didn't order it because I wasn't there. No, it was one of the moms that got up to leave, and I just,
Okay.
okay, crouton, So yeah.
It was so
funny,
funny.
though.
Takes the whole plate. It was just funny. It was just gold. It was gold.
And what's sad, I have no idea what they're talking about. I've never seen this, ever.
I'll show you after.
She-
It's hysterical. You weren't there for that scene.
Michael David will show you.
Yeah.
There's so many of those.
He knows
ridiculous
everything.
Abby,
scenes.
do you want to talk about the fight? The physical fight?
I wasn't in it.
No.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Tammy. So this woman, Tammy, is on the show.
She's part of the select team.
She's crazy.
Yeah,
She's
she
fun.
is crazy.
She's a big personality, though.
She
right?
is, yes.
And
Yeah.
she had broken so many bones, and she did.
She's like a kickboxer or something like that. I don't know what she
did
is.
judo or kickboxing,
Sure.
something. But she's a boat. They're very outdoorsy. She can shoot a
is.
gun. She
She's
can
got
do all
some
these
guns,
things.
yeah.
She's muscular,
Yeah.
attractive woman.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get in a fist fight with her. Well, she hit you,
She hit me. She hit me hard. She
and
did.
she had to leave immediately.
She, I think, was kind of escorted to her car. Yeah.
Glitter asks, did you get any good hits in during your physical fight? Did you
No,
you didn't get any hit?
unfortunately, no. I was more of the like bite me, get out of the studio. This is my studio. And they had little popsicle sticks or something like that. I don't know. Christy, I don't know. I had no idea.
Oh, but she hit you.
Oh, she hit me.
So what led up? Do you remember the conversation that led up to the
They were
hit?
talking about, being there and how they were going to
So I'm going to remind you, probably don't remember this. So you were stirring the pot, talking to all the moms about Christy.
Abby. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you were
I
like,
think you were behind the desk.
yeah, you were behind the desk,
you
and
were
then they
behind
were
the
all
desk.
kind of
Like,
talking
lined
about,
up around
yes.
me.
And then you were like, like Sarah has so much potential. It's just the mother or whatever. And then they're all jumping in, of course, kissing your butt.
Okay.
And then Christy comes in, and she's just like, I have heard every
Everything
single thing
you
that
said.
you have said.
Yeah.
To me.
No. Well,
To all
to
of them.
all of them. Not
Okay.
really you. Like 'cause-
All of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it just snowballed after that.
It snowballed, and I'm like
Was
literally
she on
like,
the end, or did
I
she
was-
have to come from
She was
where?
coming in
I
from the
came
den.
in from the den, like
Right.
hallway area,
Right, that
into
tight
that
little alcove that was
door.
never tight.
Yeah.
Never tight. That was a big space on the drawings until they forgot where they were going to put the water heater. So then they had to build that out from the ladies' room. It was supposed to be much bigger right there. Well,
Yeah.
4 feet more.
Sure.
Which would have given us more space and a bench there and everything. And it didn't. So it was always really tight. Yeah. So
I had come in
I'm
because I
talking
had
smack
known.
about you. I get the pot stirring. You come out.
You
say
kind
that
of
you
weren't
overhear
talking
us.
smack. You were kind of sticking up for Sarah. You know, you
Okay.
were saying like, you know, Sarah has it. She's here. She's part of my studio.
Right.
They're paying customers.
I
Like,
guess
why
they
wouldn't I
were-
pick
They
her?
were coming up to you talking about Christy.
Right.
And then you were like being like, yeah, but you know, the kid. So yeah, actually, yes,
Yeah,
you were
you
just
were
sticking
kind
up for
of, like,
Sarah.
sticking
You're
up for
defending
Sarah.
the kid,
You
but saying,
are.
ugh, the mother.
Yeah,
And
the
then
mother. If
they-
only I didn't
they-
have to deal with her. you
Yeah,
know?
and you all
Yes.
jump in on it.
Yeah.
You hear what they say.
I came in and I'm like, listen, I've heard every word you said, and like this is
but
my
how did
studio.
you antagonize Tammy so much that she turned physical?
I really just think that Tammy just lunged. I basically like hit the thing, and I was like, you know, like leave.
Like you smacked it with
you
your
know,
hand.
I kind of smacked it with the hand, and I'm like, you know, leave. I'm like, you know, you're not here. You know, if you want Abby, okay, then move your family here. Okay,
Right,
you want
right.
Abby, come to the studio. Like, what are you doing here?
Right,
You know,
okay.
like bite me. You know, what
Right.
I'm like, so
She said, "Bite me."
I did. I said, bite me. Yes, I did. And Tammy kind of lunged, I guess. You know, after I said, bite me. So
So that was the end of Tia.
Tia
No. The
had
two
a
of them danced the same week.
Tia-
You had them dance that week.
But they usually when there's a physical thing, that mother has to go.
I wish she would have. No,
Nope,
we
you'd
no,
sent them to the parking lot.
Yeah, no.
They worked it out.
I mean, Tammy did apologize. It was kind of, to me,
Half-hearted.
not half. You know,
Yeah.
not. You know.
did you say sorry and they just didn't air it because they made it seem like she's the only one that said sorry and you were kind of just like,
You know, I honestly, I don't remember, hun.
Yeah, but if somebody gets physically hit,
I was hurt. I
Valid.
really, honestly,
Yeah, like,
validly
she
was.
did hit you.
She did hit me. She
you
honestly.
didn't do anything.
She
Yeah.
had hit me.
really hard.
I think this side of my head. I want to say, and it did hurt me, and I was really upset at that point because I think that
Was it a slap or a punch? in
it
the
was
head?
more of a punch, and I think that
More of a bunch.
no.
And did
it was
you
a
go
punch.
to the police station
No,
and file a report?
no,
You
I
didn't?
I didn't.
See,
no.
when Kathy hit me with the old lady pocketbook,
Yeah.
I went to the police. and
Did
filed
you
a report.
really?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I thought it was going to continue to escalate week after week, that she was going to get crazy.
You know, you end up kind of thinking that way, you know, and like I had said already, that, you know, you didn't know that next week or that next show what was going to happen,
Right.
you know, and I feel like it did is out of hand, you
Right,
know what I mean? And,
right.
you know, you take,
That was in charge.
and
He
that's
was
the
leading
problem.
that ship.
Yeah. So
was leading that
yeah,
ship.
it didn't tickle, and unfortunately, you know, and I always try to kind of keep back because after that, you're not wanting to be hit. You know what I mean? You're so, but yeah.
You all know how much I love a well-trained performer on the dance floor. But today, let's talk about some four-legged friends who need a little love and support. Across the country, there are countless animals in need of rescue, shelter, and a second chance. And that's where North Shore Animal League America comes in. Now, you all remember my sweet Broadway baby, the most fabulous little pup who was by my side through it all. She was more than just a pet. She was my best friend, my travel buddy, my little star, and my baby. I miss her every single day, and I know so many of you loved her just as much. The love and joy she brought to my life is something every animal deserves to have, and every person deserves to experience. When I came home at night, after dealing with those producers and production and the mothers, she was there to comfort me, to make me laugh, to lick me, to give me little puppy kisses. And I needed her. That's why I want to shine a light on North Shore Animal League America, the world's largest no-kill rescue and adoption organization. They've saved over 1 million animals and continue to rescue, rehabilitate, and rehome pets across the country. Whether it's dogs, cats, puppies, or kittens, they're dedicated to giving animals a second chance at a happy, loving, long life. Every donation, big or small, helps provide food, medical care, and shelter for these deserving animals. Kids, don't deserve things. They earn things. The animals deserve the best life possible. So if you want to help give a rescue pet its standing ovation in a forever home, visit animalleague.org and learn how you can make a difference. Again, that's animalleague.org. Let's come together as a community and show these animals the love and support they do deserve. Do it for Broadway Baby.
So we know why you called Abby trash, but Keandra Deschia, or Deshi, forgive me. Why did you call Miss Abby trash? That was so unchristian-like and heartless. So what do you have to say to people that question your faith because of the way you were portrayed?
Well, I mean, first of all, I believe that, like, again, on the other side of the camera, there is a portrayal there that is trying to defame your character, your faith. I think that there is a spin on what you're doing or what they're wanting to produce, and make you look like. And I do think, like, everybody needs to know, like, we are human, right? You do sin, everybody sins, but at the same time, in those moments, it was, to me, sticking up for what is truth, what is happening and what you're being put through. All of that is coming out, and how they want to portray it, it really is on their shoulders. And unfortunately, we're not a part of editing, and we're not a part of the schemes that are going on around us to know what they're setting up and how you're reacting to it, So, I don't care what people say about my faith because I know my heart towards the Lord. So, I think that there are things definitely throughout Dance Moms that maybe I would retract, maybe I would apologize for, maybe I would repent for. But that doesn't change that we're sinners, we're fallen, we make mistakes. And not everything that I was doing was a mistake. It was how it was being portrayed to defame my faith, I think is kind of the right.
Unrelated. New Pope.
Yes.
What do we think?
New Pope.
First American Pope
He's an American.
Ever.
Yeah. I'm not Catholic. My family is not Catholic.
Well, I'm Catholic, but we get along. There's no war.
No.
There's no, I
It
just,
seems to be just good in general.
Jesus is Lord, so I don't care what you are. That's Jesus is Lord. So that it doesn't affect my faith.
He seems to love humans.
I have an assistant who is Jewish. I've learned more about the Jewish faith recently.
Sure.
And it's kind of all the same. If you respect and honor thy father, whoever your Lord is. And I don't discuss religion or politics.
Yes.
We have to agree in this world to respect what you believe, whoever believes, and not fight about it. Because
Absolutely.
if we all try to do good and do better, there's not going to be hate and horror in the world.
But I will say this, who are you doing good for? Who are you glorifying for?
Right.
And so
My
therefore,
Lord, but we have the same Lord.
Yes.
Yes.
But no, I mean, just the point of all of that is just that faith is such a beautiful thing.
Faith is my life. Faith is what drives me. Faith is what has sustained me. My faith in Jesus is literally my identity. And I would like to say this, Abby, is when Sarah was going through the show, the thing that sustained us as a family, the thing that sustained my little girl going through it, is that show wasn't her identity. That show, what was happening, what somebody was saying, what somebody was dishing out, wasn't our identity. Because our identity is only found in Christ. So therefore, if our identity is only found in Christ, anybody can say anything to you, well, then it bounces off of me and then it reflects you, right?
Well, that I agree with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have to hold on to something bigger and stronger.
And we did. And there
you're
were
still married.
Plenty. I'm still married.
But a lot of those moms aren't.
Unfortunately, covenant breaks, and it depends.
Yes, yes. Well, Jill's happily married.
Jill's happily married. But
And Holly.
marriage isn't a
Holly's doing
contract,
good.
it's a covenant. And it's a covenant unto God. And God's at the tip of the triangle and man and woman is at the base. And therefore, when you're just in a contract, people think you can break that contract. So, but, Jesus is Lord. So,
and George
yeah.
is good.
My husband's great. He owns a big contracting company in Pittsburgh, and we're raising my independent, wonderful family. And I just lost my dad in November, and
Yes.
inherited my house, and we built it. But
He's watching.
we see him and feel him, and know
Yes,
he's right there.
absolutely. I feel the same way about
I'm
my
wearing
mom
him
and
right
dad.
here. My dad, his fingerprints in here, and my mom and my dad's picture is in here because I lost my mom in 2020, right as COVID kind of entered the scene in April.
But they're with you every moment.
I know they're with me, and I know they're with the Lord. And
we
I
were talking before about the signs that you get.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh, there's
and-
so many beautiful
But you also know
signs,
that here,
you know?
the quality of life sometimes is not what you want it to
No.
be for your dad.
No.
and they're better off when
They're
you see
better
them
off.
suffer.
You know,
and you see them
yes.
sick, and you
Amen.
see them not.
Yeah.
They're strong.
Yeah.
Masculine self.
You can't.
It's
no. It got to the point I was very blessed to take care of my dad and move him in with my family. And for 17 months, I took care of my dad medically. I
Yes.
was blessed enough to be
Yes.
home. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I homeschool my kids and that. But I was so blessed to have him there.
That
the
time.
wisdom, the love,
Yes.
He has taught me everything, and his
there-
faith.
Let me ask
beyond.
you one thing, and then we have to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Are there questions that you had for him that you didn't get the answers to, or did you ask him everything?
I asked him so many questions, Abby, but even in 6 months, it'll be 6 months that we just lost him. And even in 6 months' time, the difference of the person that I am, I just wish in this season now, even 6 months later, I could have him in this season, because in this season, I need so many answers to so many things.
Oh no, that's not what I was talking about. I was
Okay,
like,
sorry.
my dad, I don't know his number that he played in
Yeah,
the lottery. Why do
Yeah.
I not
Why
know
don't
that?
you know that?
He
No,
probably sent me
yeah.
to the store,
Sure.
to the state store, wherever they sold them back then,
Sure.
to get
Yeah.
the tickets, and I can't remember his number to
Yeah.
play.
There's so
things
many
like
things.
that. My mom, I
There's-
don't know the chili recipe.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was tomato paste or
Yes.
tomato sauce.
It was
why?
the
It was these
Campbell's-
little
it
cans
was
of
the
tomato
Campbell's-
paste.
Yeah.
No, that's the stuffed peppers.
Oh, the stuffed
But
peppers.
I just
No, it is true.
There's things
Abby,
that
there are things that you in this moment, you're like, why can't I ask him that? Or why can't I remember that? Or where did I put that? Or why, why when he was here, didn't I, whatever. But, it's hard. And, I know even, I'm sure that you would agree that if you had your dad during all of Dance Moms, your dad would have.
Did you get to meet Mary and Lorraine Miller?
Oh, your mom, absolutely.
But
Yeah.
you know, my dad would have punched Satan right in the face. He would have stopped.
He would have
get
come
your
to
stuff
your
and get out of
rescue.
my studio
He
until
would-
there's a contract in
he
place
would
and
have.
you're paying the electric bill and you're paying the gas bill.
He would have come
It would have
in
been
there.
a different
It
thing.
would have been a different thing.
And
Yes.
I wouldn't have gotten pushed around the way I did.
You
I
wouldn't
would have
have.
been, and I never would have declared bankruptcy. My dad had perfect credit.
Yes.
Perfect.
Really
Our guest
quickly,
is waiting. We gotta get her in
really
here.
Yeah,
quickly
sure.
before we end. The one last question that I have, that's kind of a quick question.
Good.
When you came back during Dance Mom season 6, when you got brought to LA, one, did you pay for your way there, or did they fly you out?
I don't remember, honey.
I'm just curious
Sorry.
because it seemed no, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious because they brought you in that week. Did you think that this was going to be kind of like, oh, maybe we'll be here the rest of the season? Did you think it was going to be a one-time thing?
The season 6, hon, I do think I do remember accurately. We had come out. We were taking classes and that from you. We were doing something else.
Oh, so that was just
At the LA
convenient.
studio.
Oh, so
At
they
the
just threw you
LA,
in the
and
mix.
So the answer would be no. She paid for herself.
I did.
But
pay,
you were doing
yes.
other things,
I
and
was
you got
doing
to-
other things, and she got to be back on.
Did you get
Yes.
paid for that episode?
my goodness.
I'm sorry
I
to
believe
ask.
I
I'm just-
did. I'm
okay, I
sorry.
hope you did. That's the only thing. I'm just like, I
believe
hope you did.
I don't know for sure. I don't know even in that mix.
I mean, you were on the show.
Yeah.
Sarah danced. So
Yeah.
I don't know. To me,
Yeah.
I would hope.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just my last
Interesting.
question. Yes.
Yes.
All the other questions.
But
we
I'm
got
glad that you
answered.
got to see that beautiful studio.
Yeah, and it was. And we were there several times. I
Yeah,
mean,
because
we'd fly back
you know,
out a
those
couple
moms
different
all
times.
built houses, and I built that.
You did. And lost it all.
Yeah.
My Lord, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Well, it was
Abby.
taken.
It
Yeah.
was, and it was a beautiful, beautiful state of the art walls.
Place.
and
Yeah, the
just
glass.
Gorgeous.
All right,
Yeah.
we have to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Michael, as always,
Love
we had
you.
an amazing afternoon. And this week's episode with Christy,
And
you all
thank
know
you
her.
just for supporting
Yes.
Abby, me.
And
always,
thank you for
always.
everything.
God bless
for
you.
making this trek and for being on the
Yes.
podcast.
You're
Leave It on the
welcome.
Dance Floor.
Yeah.
So let's all hear it. Go follow Christy, follow Sarah, follow their whole family on all the social media. We'll list it here. And thank you. Thank you so
you.
much, sweetheart.
God bless you, honey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's dance. Let's leave it on the dance floor. Woo!
Is with my girls.
ALDC Elites, thank you so very much for listening. Be sure to subscribe and give Leave It on the Dance Floor a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to watch each week and see exclusive behind-the-scenes content like my never seen before pictures and videos from the competitions, some even taken from the wings, classes at the ALDC studio in Pittsburgh, or even our iconic dance concerts, head over to Patreon or become a member on YouTube Premium, linked in the show notes each week. See you on the flip side.